Meantime, President Trump mentioned Mamdani during his news conference earlier today. Listen here.
They're worried that somebody that, like this communist from New York, someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York, but the rest of the country is revolting against it.
Let's bring in Matt Whitlock, former senior advisor at the National Republican Senatorial Committee, and Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden White House. So you would expect President Trump would say something like that about Mamdani. What you might not expect is for the Washington Post to say this. Zohran Mamdani's victory is bad for New York and the Democratic Party. New Yorkers should be worried that he would lead Gotham back to the bad old days of civic dysfunction. And Democrats should fear that he will discredit their next generation of party leaders, almost all of whom are better than this Democratic socialist. Republicans would love to make Mamdani the new face of the Democratic Party. Are you comfortable with that?
No, and my views don't align with him, but I also don't live in New York City, so my views don't matter here because I don't vote in New York City. What might work in New York will not work in the rest of the country, as we very well know. But I do think it is important for Democrats to realize that they want a new generation of leadership. He campaigned on economic changes and economic values that are different than what other people were campaigning on, and that is important. And I think one thing that people will learn here is that campaigning is always easier than governing. So if he is elected, he will find that it's probably very hard to have some of his policies enacted. But I do think that Democrats should take note on how he campaigned and who he reached, because that will be important moving into the midterms.
A lot of people have talked to think that the real selling point for him was the rent control idea, because you're a young person in New York, trying to afford a place to live is almost impossible. But he's got some other very controversial positions, including defund the police, abolish the prison system, ban all guns, decriminalize sex work, safe injection sites, end cash bail, decriminalize drug possession. Those have all been tried in other cities, and it was disaster. He also wants to end cooperation with ICE. I mean, that will probably get him some points with other Democrats, but Democrats lost on a lot of these issues last November. They want to go back there again?
It's a very interesting misread. What happened here is politics is a pendulum, and this election ended up being energized by anti-Trump sentiment, but it really is more a referendum on the Democratic Party and on Democrat leadership. This is what a lot of us call the David Hogg effect. You remember David Hogg came in and said, we need to get rid of incumbents, and so they removed him from party leadership. I also think Mamdani benefited from running against Andrew Cuomo, who in the last few years has basically become a cartoon villain political candidate, both with accusations of serial groping, but also his role in the deaths of a lot of people's grandparents in New York. So I think Mamdani benefited from that, but I think Republicans see an opportunity to benefit from a pick-your-poison, fairly radical candidate who supports everything from, as you were saying, defunding the police, which is about a 90-10 issue, to things like, socialism that has already tried and failed before, and a number of other policies that I think Republicans feel they have an opportunity to really capitalize on in, for example, the New Jersey governor's race this November.
One of the other things that he campaigned on was government-run grocery stores. And, there's the old joke that the woman walks into a Soviet grocery store and says, do you have any tomatoes? No, we'll have them 4 years from now. She says, well, what day should I come back? I mean, we know how government-run grocery stores have worked in other places. Why would they work in New York?
I actually don't think that they will, and I'm actually not sure that some of his policies are going to work, as we know. But again, I think that he tapped into something that Democrats have been missing, and I think it is important for Democrats to take note here. And I think you can't underestimate being everywhere all of the time when you are campaigning and what you're campaigning on. His message will not resonate in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan, but it is resonating with people in New York City, which is a different voting bloc than the rest of the country.
Let me stick with the grocery stores for a second, because John Katsimatidis of Gristedes said this. Listen here.
People go to cities and states where they can invest money and make a return on investment. That's what capitalism is all about. That's why Wall Street is here. That's why the banks are here. That's why all the hospitals are here. The city is vibrant. They're going to take a vibrant city and kill it.
What do you think about that?
It does feel like the entire governing agenda of a Mamdani in New York for the last several years is geared specifically to drive out their tax base, which is interesting because when you look at Mamdani's electoral results, he based his entire campaign around supporting the working class, but the working class was the group that most strongly voted against him, and it was upper-class liberals who actually were his strongest base of support. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they react to these policies like government-run grocery stores.
All right, so here's what Eric Adams had to say about Mamdani's candidacy now that Eric Adams has officially thrown his hat in the ring as an independent. Listen here.
This is a city not of socialism. This is not a city where you use idealism to state you're giving everything to everyone for free. There's no dignity in someone giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up.
I mean, wouldn't it be like unbelievably ironic that the financial capital of the universe, that the city that just oozes capitalism from every corner, would be run by a socialist mayor?
I think he has an uphill battle here. I think that's very clear. I think that they're going to. Either the Republican is going to be pushed to drop out, or Eric Adams or Cuomo is still going to run. This is not a done deal. Yes, he won the Democratic nominee, but this is not a done deal. I think this is far from over, and I don't think
Do you hope it's not a done deal?
Correct. His policies are a little too left for me, but I also think when you take a stand on something, people like that. Whether or not they agree with your stance, people like when you take a stand, and he did that. He took stance for unpopular policies, in my view, but.
Well, there are elements of the Democratic Party that the further left you go, the better it is for them, they think.
Yep.
Maybe not. We'll see. Thanks, folks. Have a great weekend. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.